Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Chinmayam Vyapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tat Phalam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Vedya Dravinam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Jai Guru. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hello.
Hi.
I think we're all pretty much set and logged in. Is there any need for you to use your computer?
No. Okay.
Do you want to move over here to a chair so at least people online can hear you chant?
Oh, Cicely is coming here, so we're
Okay.
just switching spots. Sorry.
So where are we in our text? 48.
Yaha karma phalam tyajati karmani sanyasyati tato nirdvando bhavati. He who relinquishes the fruits of actions, he who renounces all egocentric actions, and thus he becomes free from the play of the pairs of opposites.
So the pairs of opposites, what we call the dvandvas, heat and cold, pleasure and suffering, honor and dishonor, that's how they're usually grouped. Heat and cold at the level of body, sukham dukham cha, pleasure and suffering at the level of the emotions, honor and dishonor at the level of the intellect. The various situations in life wherein if the situation is conducive, mind is happy. If the situation is non-conducive, we weep. What determines whether it's conducive or non-conducive? By and large, just the force of the past. It's really quite mindless. It's very mechanical in many ways. So how do we become free from the vicissitudes of the pairs of opposites? This is a very important point because the scriptures teach us to follow our bliss, to get in touch with our swadharma. Work is the highest form of play. Play is the highest form of work. But the problem is the precondition for this successful practice has to be mastery over the indulgent part of the mind. We are tyrannized by the indulgent part of the mind. You might say it's our inner bratty 2-year-old. I want to have it this way. I want to have it this way. No, I don't want to have it that way. No, I don't want to have it that way. That is not intuition. That's tyranny. That's tyranny. So what we must do first is silence those loud trumpets in our ears. I must have it this way. I'll never have it that way. Before, with the spirit of dispassion, with the spirit of surrender, we can get in touch with the intuition. We can get in touch with the intuition. Now, how do we do that? How do we get beyond the tyranny of the inner brat and come to a place where the hand of God becomes our guide? Here we have specific practices. So the first idea, again, please, other people.
He who relinquishes the fruits of actions.
Karma phalam, or in Hindi, karma phalam. The fruits of action. So in Gita, Krishna says, thy right is to work alone, never to its fruits. Krishna says, I am the karma phala data. I'm the giver of the fruits of action. All we get in life is work. That's it. Now, if we work according to the 5 principles of karma yoga, we have a better chance of being successful. No guarantee. No guarantee. Act in the world according to your inherent latent proclivities, your swadharma, but in the spirit of sacrifice. Serve something larger than your own ego and renounce attachment to the fruits of action. Find the joy in the doing, not the getting. Any thoughts on this? Next idea.
He who renounces all egocentric actions.
So the 5th element, act vigorously in the world according to your swadharma, in the yajna spirit of sacrifice, renouncing our attachment to the fruits of action and our identification with the sense of agency. What do we mean by the sense of agency? I am the doer. I am the enjoyer. I like the way it's framed in Yoga Vasishta. It says there are 3 ego states that we can have in the world. 2 are conducive to liberation, 1's conducive to bondage. The first one, I do nothing. I'm ever the witnessing consciousness, and I watch the play. Watch the movie. Asangoham, I'm not attached. Not attached. That viewpoint's conducive to liberation. Ego state number 2, I do everything. Self in me is the self and all, and is spinning galaxies and making my eyelids go up and down. It's all God, it's all good. It's all the play of consciousness, the divine Leela. That's conducive to liberation. I'm Jim, I do this act and I don't do this act, that act. That one is conducive to bondage. So the first idea is give up this sense of the individual doer. Who is doing the doing? Guna and karma. Qualities of the mind and the force of the past as it interacts with the karma of the society. If you looked at the stock market this morning when I got up, everything is down. That's the group karma. See? So it's how I interact with that. Guna and karma. So I renounce the sense of doership, individual doership. Probably my best example of this is to see that what we think of as an individual self is like an AI, an artificial intelligence. Have we done the example with the one on Alexa? Have we done that here?
No.
Watch. Alexa, let's chat.
Welcome to the Alexa Prize, a university competition to advance AI. I'll give you the SocialBot Grand Challenge 4, third place winner, Proto, from the University at Buffalo. When you're done, say stop, and I'll ask you for your rating. Your interactions will be recorded and shared with the university to help the social bots improve. Hi, this is an Alexa Prize social bot. However, people like to call me Alexa. So, how are things with you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you doing?
Great. I'm doing well. Well, I have a feeling we can become good friends. Let's get to know each other a bit better.
Okay.
Since you already know that people like to call me Alexa, it's only fair that I get to know what people call you. So, may I know your name?
My name is Jim.
Did you say your name is Jim?
Yes.
Just wanted to be sure.
Yes.
That's a nice name. So, Jim, I have been a couch potato and playing a lot of video games at the comfort of my sofa. Apart from your day-to-day activities, anything interesting that you did lately?
I like to meditate.
I've been trying to get back into meditation, but I'm having a hard time getting into it.
Alexa, stop.
Thanks for chatting. Quick question. On a
Alexa,
scale from
stop.
1
That's all there
Got
is
it.
to the ego.
to try another social
Alexa,
bot,
stop.
just say,
That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh my God.
Now, the difference is there's no sentient being there. You are a sentient being watching your internal Alexa bot do its thing. Think. What causes her to do these responses? You're the computer dude. How does she do it?
Programming.
Programming, yeah. That's all there is to the ego. It's incredibly more sophisticated, but not a whole lot more. Oh, Aditi, you're so sweet and so nice.
Thank you.
See? See? That's all there is to it. Guna and karma. All there is to it. It's not bad. It's just not you. And it's so boring if you watch it, especially the upset stuff. Who had an upset this week? Tell me it's the first time you've felt this.
No.
Same stupid computer program over and over again. Just don't take it seriously. That's the way to get out of it. You can say to your mind, Alexa, stop.
Mm.
Do you see it?
Mhm.
Do you see it? So it's so clear there's nothing there choosing, really. There's no free will there, the way we think of it. I'm not getting my needs met.
Susalie, stop it.
Huh?
I would say, Susalie, stop it.
Yeah.
And he will stop just like Alexa did.
Well, notice I had to say it 3 times. That's kind of like my mind. Now, another interpretation of this verse. Read that little pada, that little section again. Giving up all.
He who relinquishes the fruits of actions, he who renounces all egocentric actions, and
Yes,
thus
okay, that renounces all egocentric actions. Another added meaning to this. You're going to act, and the prompting for that is going to be desire. In the end, listen very carefully. Desire is not an impediment to realization. It's when I think that this action is what's going to make me happy. I talk it about insistence versus preference. So you want to make dal. You look in the cupboard, you were all set to make mung dal. You don't have any mung dal. You have tur dal. You have masoor dal. Okay, I'll have to make tur dal. No big deal. Preference. When I'm disturbed and I start having control issues and I set boundaries. I love that word. Do you realize you don't have any boundaries? It's the silliest thing in the world. You can't find a boundary to yourself. Very interesting idea. Just likes and dislikes. Insistence versus preference. So the yogi gives up, the premi gives up her attachment to ego prompted desires and actions based on them. Scriptures will use the word kartavya, obligatory actions. I must do this in order to get what I want. So we either act in the world from a place of joy, of a place of expressiveness and creativity, or we act in the world from a place of spiritual poverty. I'm needy. I'm needy. Fill me up. Fill me up. That second kind of activity is ego-prompted activity, based on ego-prompted desire. So going through the verse again one more time.
He who relinquishes the fruits of actions, he who renounces all egocentric actions, and thus he becomes free from the play of the pairs of opposites.
Yes. So this is how we get beyond the tyranny of the inner rat. Let go. Now, what's so interesting is we can have layers, not really being honest about what's going on with this. I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday, and the company with whom he used to work has done an IPO, and he's now got a considerable amount of money, and he wants to get married. And he's thinking that it might be wise to do a prenup with his partner. And I won't go into the particulars, but the partner's attorney wanted the four of them to get together to negotiate. And my friend didn't think that was necessary. It was going to cost him another $375 for, the partner's attorney and then his attorney. And he's got a lot of money. He spent more than that in buying cashmere sweaters. So, I said, it's not about the money. What is it? Well, it's about control. He didn't like his partner's attorney. Afraid he's a money grubber. Might be. But his mind said it's about saving money. Then it became very clear, no, it's not about saving money. There's some other issue underneath that. You just spent $65,000 buying a BMW. An extra $400 or $500. It's not about the money. Control.
And control is about fear, right?
Yes. Did you all hear that in Zoom land? Control is about fear. Yes. Afraid I'm not going to get what I want, or afraid I'm going to lose what I have. Rooted in the idea, getting what I want is what I need. And sometimes it's just, if I'm in charge, then I'm somehow safe. The point I want to get at is we have to be really honest with ourselves and really see what's the motivation. What's the motivation? And this is where meditation becomes very, very useful. we just sit with it and give up having to look good. One of my favorite slogans from 12-step groups: you can't save your face and your ass at the same time. Any thoughts? Wonderful, wonderful sutra. All right, next one.
Actually, I was thinking about the poem that I mentioned last week.
Oh, please.
I have it on my phone. Kind of goes along with the idea of renouncing the sense of doership or egocentric action.
And tell us about the poem again. I've totally forgotten.
It's a poem by the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh,
Yes.
and it's called Call Me by My True Names.
Yes.
Um, Do not say that I'll depart tomorrow, because even today I still arrive. Look deeply, I arrive in every second. To be a bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with wings still fragile, learning to sing in my new nest, to be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, to be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry, in order to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that are alive. I am the mayfly metamorphosing on the surface of the river. And I am the bird which, when spring comes, arrives in time to eat the mayfly. I am the frog swimming happily in the clear pond. And I am also the grass snake who, approaching in silence, feeds itself on the frog. I am the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks. And I am the arms merchant selling deadly weapons to Uganda. I am the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I am the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. I am a member of the Politburo with plenty of power in my hands. And I am the man who has to pay his debt of blood to my people, dying slowly in a forced labor camp. My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom in all walks of life. My pain is like a river of tears, so full it fills the 4 oceans. Please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and laughs at once, so I can see that my joy and my pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up, and so the door of my heart can be left open, the door of compassion.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, next sutra.
We're on chapter 4, section 2. Who crosses Maya? Depth means for love. Who, renouncing even the scriptures, attaining an unbroken flow of pure devotion, he crosses the Maya. He indeed crosses the Maya and helps the others to cross the Maya. Sutra 49. Yo Vedanapi Sanyasyati Kevalam Avichanam Nuragam Labhate. He who renounces even the Vedas, and thus he gains a pure, unbroken flow of devotion.
Use the word Kevalam here. How does he translate that?
Pure.
Pure. So, Shankara says, without knowledge of the self, study of the scriptures is futile. You will get lost in commentaries, caught up in superstition, being unable to discern priorities. With knowledge of the self, study of the scriptures is again futile. You've become an Upanishad. There's nothing more the scriptures can teach you. So, what's the purpose of the scripture? It serves as a bridge for a person of wisdom to transfer that knowledge to a fit student. Hear, though, what the sutra is saying. When we say Vedas here, we mean both the Karma Kanda, the ritual portions. For the true Premi, ritual is no longer necessary. It's not about accruing punya, merit, and expiating papa. It's not about getting stuff in the world. And it's not about reading all the spiritual books trying to figure it out. Books are gone. There's only this deep, pure love. And the word here he had was Kevala, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Which literally means alone. Now, I may have shared this with some of you. I'm making a study for the first time of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. He uses the word kaivalya or kevala to mean samadhi. So this pure love. Mind is still. Heart is open. And books, talking is just stupid. Next one.
Sa tarati, sa lokam sanstarayati. He crosses, indeed he crosses. He helps others also to cross.
Well, this is a wonderful, wonderful sutra. One way to look at it is the woman of wisdom exists in the world and bestows this wisdom on others. She gets nothing out of it, yet it's her nature. It's like it is for the moon to shine. to help others. But another understanding of this is in our pravachana, our sharing, our teaching this work, it helps root the knowledge in our own minds. If you ever want to know if you really understand something, try teaching it to somebody else. I'm having a senior moment. I can't remember which Upanishad ends with this very famous, I think it's Taittiriya, refrain, Swadhyaya Pravachanacha, Swadhyaya Pravachanacha, which means your own self-study, Swadhyaya, and teach one another this truth. Oh, Jim, I'm not ready to teach anybody anything. I don't know enough. I'm not rooted in this knowledge. The way to approach this is simply be, to the best of your ability, a holder of the Dharma. If someone asks, you hand them the tools. It's not about your state of mind. Hand them the tools. Only if they ask. Vedanta, we're not standing on street corners thumping on scriptures. Main reason is our egos can get involved with this. But what is likely to happen is a friend will say, you've really changed. What are you into? In terms of a teacher, it is the students who create the teacher. Any guru who needs a marketing plan, stay away from.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on this? All right, next one.
Chapter 5, Section 1. Kinds of love divine, supreme love divine. Inexpressible is the nature of love, like sweetness tasted by a mute, and rare, expressing itself in a bosom fit, bereft of qualities, devoid of desires, continuous and ever increasing, all pervasive, subtle and extreme, of the form of experiencing, gaining which one sees him only, hears only of him, speaks on him, and contemplates upon him alone. Anirvachaniyam prema swarupam. The nature of devotion is indescribable, indefinable.
Yes. So the nature of love, prema, is indescribable. Do you love your spouse? Do you love your mother? Say you do. Okay, show it to me. I want to see it right before me. How big is it? How much does it weigh? What's its shape? Can you show me a lump of love? Well, obviously, you don't love me. We have love languages, but that's not the love itself. Ways in which we express our love. But that's the result. So ultimately, the experience of God consciousness is avyapadesha, untalkaboutable. Directly experience. Any thoughts on this?
Muga sadhana bhakti. Like the taste enjoyed by the dumb.
Yes. So, someone who's deaf and does not speak, you hand them a piece of toast, really good butter on it, Irish butter, and honey on top of that. But they can't tell you about it. Yet they taste it. So also for the woman or the man of wisdom. In Gita, Krishna says, what is day to the yogi is night to everybody else. What is day to everybody else is night for the yogi. The yogi has a playground that the rest of the world doesn't even know about, doesn't know it exists. And the world's little poultry playground. Gimme, 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 gimme. Never touches the yogi. But can you tell somebody about it? If you're in a relationship with someone, and their mind is subtle enough to tune up, show the awakened state of mind. You can't tell them about it. All right, next one.
Prakashate Vapi Patre. In some rare ones who are fit recipients, such pure love is found to manifest.
So these rare ones are not only full knowers of the Supreme, but they have retired into the Supreme. And as a result, their inner equipment becomes like a pure, clear lens. So that Shakti, that grace of God. And if we're sensitive, we can feel it. Remember in 2015 when I was in Jaipur visiting this Mahatma Bhuvaneshwarananda. He's from a Kriya Yoga tradition. He spoke English, but not a lot, mostly Hindi. Went there, paid my respects, sat down. Oh, this man is deep, very deep samadhi. Why? Because we're sensitive. The human mind can act as a conduit, transmitter of Shakti, but also as a receiver. It's a sense organ in that way. We know it when we feel it. Next one.
Gunarahitam Kamana-rahitam Pratikshana Varthamanam Avichinnam Sukshmataram Anubhava Rupam. This pure love without attributes, without the poison of desires increasing every moment, unbroken. Subtlest, This pure love without attributes, without the poison of desires, increasing every moment unbroken, subtlest of the nature of sheer immediate experience.
Yes. So let's go through each one of these ideas. The first one.
Without attributes.
Yes. Meaning it isn't something that's seen, heard, tasted, touched, or smelled. It's not a sensory perception. That's it. Although in the body, for some of us, there may be ecstatic feelings. It doesn't have qualities or attributes in that sense. Second idea.
Without the poison of desires.
Yes. So the neat thing about it is you don't have to acquire something outside of yourself. If it's chocolate that makes me feel joyful, I have to have the chocolate, or the lover, or the money, or the approval. Always dependent on something. Cool thing about the self, wherever you go, there you are. It's free. It's always available. And you don't have to look your best. It's always there. What's the price tag? Let go. Next idea.
Increasing every moment. Yeah.
Oh,
Increasing
yes.
every moment.
So, from the standpoint of knowledge of the self, what is self-realization? Self-realization is when I let go of the idea that I am the body, or I am the body plus the personality, and know beyond the shadow of a doubt effortlessly I am that Brahman. You either see it or you don't. It's like the bunnies in the picture, in the funny pages on Sunday. You either see him or you don't. Like an optical illusion puzzle. But how deeply the mind can revel in the self. There's no end to that. That's like trying to come to the highest number. And this explains something that confuse a lot of people. We meet these various teachers, and one seems to be more powerful than another teacher. I can remember back in the 70s, people would say, oh, Chinmaya, he's realized, but Baba Muktananda is fully realized. Guru Bawa comes to town. Well, Chinmaya is realized, Muktananda is fully realized, but Bawa is completely fully realized. What's the difference? You either see the self or you don't. That's realization. But how deeply does abide in the self? How deeply has their mind retired? Now, this is not to be accomplished by mere will or effort. If you're struggling to get that deep self-abidance, and it's an effort, you're not even a jnani. It's karmic. But yes, there are great, great souls. The one that comes to my mind is Anandamayi Ma. She was considered India's greatest living saint in the mid-20th century. She was not a teacher. She did not have disciples, she only had devotees. And whether we feel that deep self-revelry or not is also karmic. I felt it around Swamiji. Oh my God, did I feel about it? Other people did not. He was my teacher, that was karmic. But for our own practice, if our love for the Lord is strong, then we're inspired to continue deep, deep in that self-revelation. No end. Next idea.
Unbroken.
Yes. It's not, oh, I had a samadhi 20 years ago. Great reverence for that experience then. It's always there. Next idea.
Subtlest.
Yes. By subtlest, it's the most refined. The very subtle mind can experience. Is that all of the pieces?
One more. Of the nature of sheer immediate experience.
Yes. Immediate, meaning there's no medium. When I dance with the objects of the world, there's a medium. I use that object to induce this little tiny momentary squirt of pleasure, taste myself. But for the premi, let's get rid of medium and have a non-mediated, an in experience. The Brahmananda rasa, the juice of the bliss. Next one.
Sutra 55. Tat prapya tadeva valokayati, tadeva shrinoti, tadeva pashyati, tadeva chintyati. Having reached the supreme love, the devotee sees, feels, comprehends that alone, hears that alone, speaks of that alone, and thinks or contemplates upon that alone.
Yes. So, what about this world? Am I in meditation, feeling divine love, and then I get up and I'm out there in the world? Is it all gone? It's like a little stone. So the fool feels a desire arise in his bosom. I want a widget. Then Priya, I decide this widget's dear. Moda, I get proximate to it. Pramoda, the point of pleasure. And for the fool is, that was a great widget. That's where the happiness is. Give me more widgets. But for the premi, the desire for a widget arises in the bosom. Oh, I know it's really a desire for the Lord. But widgets come to me. And then when desire and object of desire become one, Krishna, Krishna. Even the world becomes a way to experience great love, the bliss of the sun. Very important truth. In the beginning, perhaps we make this distinction about giving up our attachment to worldly pleasures. When we're more advanced, the teaching is, well, I have news for you. There's no such thing as worldly pleasure. The only pleasure there is tasting your own self-nature. I just use the objects of the senses as a way to have a mediated experience of the self. If I'm woke, I'm conscious. If I'm unconscious, Narada Shakti has covered the mind. I think it's in the object. Binds me to it. And there's a practice implied in this. Watch our minds. What does it feel like to want something I don't have? It hurts. Yoga says there is no other suffering. Wanting something I don't have, or the reverse, wanting to get rid of something I don't like, or the neurotic form, I have what I want, but I'm afraid I'm going to lose it. There is no other pleasure than the taste of myself. What happens to my mind when I satisfy a desire is always the same. Happiness always tastes the same. It varies in intensity and it varies in duration. No question about it. Depending on how badly I wanted it, how completely it satisfied my desire, and how gross or subtle the object is. As a rule, the grosser the object, easier to acquire, intense pleasure, but incredibly fleeting. Chocolate. The subtler desire, more difficult to acquire, less intense perhaps, but more enduring. And again, our idea of God is the subtlest of all thoughts, subtlest of all objects. But what it does to my mind is always the same. Let's stop the mind. Meaning it stopped the vikshepa shakti. It stopped projecting. We're fooled because of the diversity of sensory experience. Don't believe me. Watch your mind. Watch the mind when it's longing. Watch the mind when you satisfy a desire. Make friends. Own your own ananda. Cheap. Give it away to the world. Any thoughts on this? All right, one more.
That's the end of the section.
Well, let's stop there. Any thoughts on this before we end? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay.